Hello, the internet. Welcome back to another blank room, because I am still studioless, and welcome to what is, or rather what will be, once I've edited it, the last video in the 12 Days of Japan series. Yeah, that's it. It's over. I've not got anything else to edit and film to show you fine folks, I'm afraid. So, roll credits. Now, I realised that after I had edited all of what you have just been watching over the past many weeks, that I'd never really explained to you, oh dear viewer, how we actually travelled around Japan. So I figured I would sit down with you now and explain to you exactly how we travelled around the magnificent country that is Japan. Now, while we were in Japan, our primary method of transport of getting around the country that was not our feet was the country's magnificent train network, which consisted of Shinkansens, subways, local lines, and if you're going with all the transport, a pirate ship as well. Now, the trains in Japan, they're not free. You do have to pay for them, I mean, obviously. But as a traveller going to Japan, visiting Japan as non-native or non-resident, there are some traveller-friendly ways to do it. Now, the first of which you may have heard about or will hear about, as it's one of the first things that you do ever hear about if you think of going to Japan, and that is to get the JR Pass or JR Rail Pass or just JR Pass, Japan Rail Pass. It's called many things, but it's one of these. This is what you want. Now, what is it, apart from a nice little, cute little ticket? Well, this pass enables you to have virtually unlimited travel on the country's Shinkansen network and JR lines. Basically, if it's a JR line, the JR Pass will work on it. These things are so good value for money that you actually cannot buy them as a resident of Japan, or if you are Japanese and you live in Japan, you can't buy them because they're for the travelers, they're for the tourists, they're for people to get around the country and explore the country. Or at least it was good value, because in October of this year, 2023, the cost of the JR Pass is going to be increasing by almost 60% in some cases, depending on the type of pass you're getting, the length of the pass. Our pass was 14 days. So if you are going to be going after October of 2023, it depends on how much you're going to be using the trains, because the justification of putting the price up of the JR Pass is it will actually now allow you onto any of the Shinkansen lines, including the fast ones, because this one that we had will only allow us on the slower trains. So you will be able to get around quicker. I mean, in some cases, it's a case of maybe half an hour quicker. But if you are only using the Shinkansen maybe once or twice for like a 14-day trip, it's probably not worth it anymore. Because this allowed us unlimited travel, it allowed us to go from Tokyo to Osaka, and then back up to Tokyo, and then down to Odawara, and then back from Odawara to Tokyo, all on the Shinkansen, all basically without having to, pay at the ticket machine. You pop this thing in, you scan it through, because one of the other pitfalls that we saw a lot of other travellers having was they would queue up at the ticket office at the Japanese train stations and to use their JR Pass to buy their tickets from someone over the counter, when what you can actually do, you can go to the ticket machines. They have a button for English. You tap English, you scan your JR Pass, you select the train you want, you select the seats that you want, because you can reserve seats up to, I believe it is 6 minutes is the latest you can reserve a seat before a train departs. It's crazy how easily you can do it. You pop your passport number in and it gives you a couple of tickets. It's really, really simple, and to be honest, I'd say easier than queuing up by the actual manned ticket office for 20 or 30 minutes. It also allowed us to travel from Kyoto down to Nara on the aptly named Nara line, which is a JR line, so that we could be assaulted by the deers looking for crackers. And once we were in Tokyo, it allowed us to get around the city on the Yamanote line, on the Soba and the Chuo line. You just put this through the ticket gates and they would just let you through. Like, you didn't have to pay or anything like that. There was no awkwardness, just in and out. Now, for the lines that were not free, like some of the subway lines in Tokyo, the majority of the subway lines in Osaka, and some of the subway lines in Kyoto, they're not covered by the JR Pass. For that, you need to get something called an IC card. We had a Suica card, or this one, the Welcome Suica card. They are basically prepaid cards where you load them up with an arbitrary amount of yen, usually in sort of 1,000 increment chunks, presumably so that you can actually just shove notes into the machines instead of 1,000 1 yen coins, which, by the way, you will end up with a lot of if you go to Japan. Seriously, before you leave the country, find somewhere to spend your small change. So with the IC cards, as you go through the ticket barriers, you just scan your card. It's contactless. You just tap it on the ticket gate as you go in and out, and the balance of your fare is then automatically deducted. And it's not just trains that you can use these on, because these are basically a balance card. You can use them on vending machines that have contactless payment points. You can even buy things from stores with these cards as well. So they are kind of equivalent to like debit cards, really. Your balance is deducted off as you pay for things. Now, the one that we got, this one, the Welcome Suica card, which is mainly aimed at travellers, as it runs for 28 days from the point of activation. In fact, it even says on it, this card's expiration date is 25 days from the date of first use. Remaining balance cannot be refunded. So keep an eye on your balance, because you don't want to end up with a few thousand yen on it as you are flying out of the country, because you can't use it. But even as a traveller, you can get the regular Suica cards, which are just called Suica cards, because they don't have an expiry date. But at the moment, due to what is being labelled as a chip shortage, travellers can only get the Welcome Suica cards. However, I am told it is not going to be forever. That is just a temporary thing. So when that eventually is no longer a problem, you can get the regular ones. They don't expire. The balance stays on them. You can even register the regular Suica cards to basically your name and some details. So if you lose them, you can basically reissue your new one and have that balance transferred, so that you're not losing hundreds or thousands of yen if your card went missing. And then there is the non-train method of transport that I mentioned at the start of this video, the pirate ship, because yes, the Hakone sightseeing cruise, or pirate ship as it is colloquially known, is covered by a travel pass, specifically this one. It is called the Hakone Free Pass, and you can buy this from Odawara Station, and it costs 5,000 yen. Which you think, that's actually quite a bit for just a pass. However, I just dropped it on the floor, so yeah, this one. However, what it gets you is 2 days unlimited travel in the Hakone area, which is what got us from Odawara Station all the way up to Lake Ashai and on to the pirate ship. This pass covered every method of transport there. So it covered the Hakone Tozen line, it covered the Hakone cable car, it covered the Hakone ropeway, and then covered the sightseeing cruise as well. So it is very good value when you add up the cost of the Tozan line, the cable car, the ropeway, and the pirate ship. If you use all 4 of those in one day as a round trip, this works out at about 600 yen better value per person. So if you're using it for one day, you're doing all of that, brilliant. You've still got another day on this thing that you can use to go around the entire Hakone area. So absolutely, if you are going to Hakone and you are going from Odawara up to Gora and maybe up to Owakadani to have a bit of a meltdown at the site of Mount Fuji, and then go around on the lake for a bit, definitely get one of these. They are definitely worth it. Method for using them, exactly the same as these. You basically just flash this swag at the gates and they let you through. Now, admittedly, oh dear viewer, I am giving you all of this information from the perspective of March/April of 2023. So obviously, figures that have been mentioned are subject to change, like the mentioned JR Pass getting ridiculously expensive. You can expect other things to change as well, like chip shortage, and this might not even be 5,000 yen by the time you watch this or visit Japan after watching this. So, yep, don't obviously take it as read that this will be valid information. It's just, this is how we travelled around Japan. I wanted to share this experience with you as some advice from a already travelled individual in that country. These are the ways to do it. So that's it. Yeah, that's how we travelled around Japan for the 12 days of Japan. So as ever, internet, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this, feel free to pop a like on the video. If you've used these, feel free to share your experience in the comments below as well. And again, if you're enjoying the content I'm making, please consider subscribing. It does help this channel out, allows me to bring you more content, and even, hey, one day, 12 days of Japan 2, it might happen. Don't know when it's going to happen, but if I can grow the channel up, then definitely 12 days of Japan is on. I just don't know when yet. But as ever, thank you all for watching. See you in the next one. Bye for now.